I can't see a clock here, so maybe I should refer to my cell phone every now and then to keep on a time. Unless you have display cards for me, do you have? Yes. I'm going to give a speculative talk on imagining the road ahead, the digital future of India. What I say may be true, may come true, may not, because I'm speculating on possibilities. Technology itself is neither for the good nor for the bad. It depends on how you actually use it. You could use nuclear energy to destroy lives. You could use nuclear energy to make better lives. So basically, technology itself is neither good nor bad. The value of it should come from humans. So what I say is neither utopian nor is it dystopic, and I cannot claim to cover everything about the digital future. I'll just try to touch upon some things in alphabetical order. Let's call it the digital highway. It's like an eight lane highway that I've imagined. Its direction is the direction of time, which means the road is one way. Time does not flow back, it just flows forward. And the digital highway is that. You can't come back. It inexorably moves forward. And I'll go cover it in alphabetical order from agriculture, banking and commerce, communication and conferencing, education, elections, health, manufacturing, and news and entertainment. Let's begin with agriculture. There is something strange about a country of 1,400 million people who need food, a lot of food, because of the size of the population. But the farmers of India are poor. It makes no sense. If you go by demand and supply logic, farmers should have been the richest people in India. But they're poor. And they're poor for a very simple reason, because they're not directly connected to the demand centers. There are lots of middlemen, you all know about this, and they don't know what to grow. But supposing in the future, farmers have an app by which it's like current technology, it's just not properly deployed, have an app by which they can see as a ready reckoner in real time how much potato is being grown in India, or how much onion is being grown in India, where all it's being grown, and they can actually connect demand and supply. They can compare statistics from previous years, and they can actually do the correct cropping. Instead of having gluts in the market suddenly, and tomato prices will drop to 2 paise or 20 paise. But these things happen, right? So that is one. If they had technology which gave them ready reckoner, but where the market is and where it's competitive, where it's not, where they can make a unique product, and where they can actually sell, or they can actually make a forecast for demand, and they can contract and say, I'm going to sell so many thousand tons of tomato to this consumer. Before they grow, they get an advance. They can have insurance because of that, because it's all predictable. And it's possible. The only reason it's not being done is because there are Western interests in the middle who do not allow it, but this can happen. The second is banking and commerce. I'm just speeding forward because that's the time I have. You think about banking and commerce. Today everybody has a bank account. So the current estimates is that there may be 800 million internet users in India. In a couple of years, it may actually cross a million a billion users. That is the connectivity you have. It's just like the scale is unimaginable. Now think about it. When I transact with somebody, I have goods or services. I give goods or services, and then I either get something in return as barter, or I can get something in return as currency, coins and notes, or I get something in return in terms of, say, gold or silver, or some other means of actually valuing my product or service I can get in return. But what does digital banking mean? Actually, what does get transacted? You let me know. See, when I transfer wealth to you, what do you actually get? You get bits and bytes, that actually accrue to you. It's just notional, it is, right? Now imagine this thing about notional wealth, what it could actually mean in a cashless society in the future, where people just transact value after that. They don't even maybe transacting goods, they're just transacting value. I'm worth this much, and I'll just, out of love or craziness, I can just say, I will make you richer by this much, which happens today. It's just that we are still locked to the old system of physically valuing what we have, but that may drastically change. I'm leading up to something in this order, okay? That's why I'm just touching upon this mildly. You know about blockchain and you know about cryptocurrency, and you must imagine that the future, which is not very far away, I'm saying in the next few years, 3, 4, 5 years, will be very strange. There will be no money. I was in Australia for 6 months, and there were only 2 occasions when I touched or saw cash. I had a card which I didn't even actually swipe. I just didn't even tap. I just held it over something, and the transaction happened. We're getting used to this. Actually, we don't trust it much, but it may be more trustworthy than a currency note that can be counterfeited. The third one I'm talking about will be communication and conferencing. Imagine that you build homes where walls can speak. You can see the walls. There can be screens where you communicate with life-size images, and you can talk to people anywhere. So you have a virtual reality experience that is very close to reality itself. And in the future, maybe you can have holographic images of people in the room, or just actually images, holographic images in the room. So you can have an experience of people who are far away, people who are removed in time, meaning people who are no longer there, people yet to appear perhaps. And think of yourselves. See, you have persona. In the morning, you may be a young mother or a factory worker, when you go to the factory, or you can be a school teacher if you go to the school. You can be a commuter when you are somewhere. You can be in an audience listening to a band perhaps. You can be a member of the audience. You can be a mob rioting. Okay, you can be anything. You have different personae. When people ask you who you are, you never answer truthfully who you are. It's because it's not possible. You answer to the convenience of the other person. So when I'm in Bangalore, I'll say I'm a Kannadiga maybe, but when I'm in Myanmar, I will say I'm Indian. And when people ask me a question, when I go to my daughter's school, I'll say I'm a parent. When I go to my club, I'll say I'm a member. So people, you answer who are you in a way that is appropriate for the person who's asking the question. Actually, you never give an answer to yourself. So the different personae that you have. And maybe you can deploy all these in real time to different spaces. So you can have multiple selves operating. I can be sitting in the auditorium, a 3D image of me, participating in something. But I could be in the parent-teachers meeting also. Think about it. You can have digital selves for personing, and that may be the conferencing and communication of the future. You saw what COVID did to us. Conferencing, which was a very special feature, became an everyday thing for everybody, right? We'll move on to education. You may no longer require buildings, complexes of this size, where you actually move students into classrooms. You may you may get you may get into a situation where it's not just like work from home or study from home. You may require congregational spaces only for different reasons, like sports, cultural programs, convocation ceremonies, debates. Maybe not even debates, I'm thinking. But basically, you won't need these spaces. All these great buildings, these great complexes, where you visit those places, may become things of the past. And maybe even these conferencing things will be shared things, because there'll be a campus place that many different universities that don't have any buildings subscribe to. The new education policy will enable you to do online education to maybe up to 60%. Soon, 3, 4, 5 years, everything will be that. The new education policy, you can actually get in and get out anytime through your life. You'll have a credit bank, where your credits will be there. You don't need to carry any certificate. You go with a password, you will know actually what you've done. First year you do and get out. That's the new education policy, by the way. First year, if you get out, get a certificate. You come back, anywhere in India, you reconnect. Second year, you get a diploma. Third year, you get a degree. Fourth year, you get honors. Fifth year, you get masters. And you can do it over your lifetime. Anytime you can come in and come out. But the blocks are in 1 year. Okay? So, people may study when they're doing something else. Nobody needs to go to college, perhaps. And maybe all you need is, when you're 5 years old, you'll be given a pad on which you can, that's your textbook, that's your notebook, that's your exam. There's an OTP by which you connect, write the exam, and you close. That's what will happen. Your teachers may send notes about you to your parents, and that thing will open, the parent will ask you. You can't see what the notes that the teachers have sent. See, the thing is, all this is possible now. It's just not deployed, but it may become inevitable and it may deploy. If you have another pandemic, it will hasten this process. Fifth is elections. In India we have panchayat elections, village level, taluk level, Jilla Panchayat, we have town municipal council elections, we have city corporation elections, we have elections to the assembly, we have elections to the state councils, where councils and legislative councils exist. We have the general elections to the Lok Sabha, and we have Rajya Sabha elections. So India is always in election mode. And it has been suggested that all the elections should happen simultaneously. But in a diverse country like India, you'll agree, we have 50 or 60 political parties who will not agree with each other. So, what do you do with elections? Just imagine, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, you get an hour's time across the country. Or you get 4 hours. You get a window. You'll say, I vote now. Get an OTP on your smartphone. And you vote. Finish. Now they'll say you can hack it and all that. That will happen. But eventually you may have to accept it, because it's the least expensive election to conduct. You don't need to deploy police personnel, ballot boxes, electronic counting machines, nothing, EVMs, nothing you need. Maybe elections of the future can be done like that. There'll be no proxy voting, because it will link to your identity. And you can, from your handheld device, you can actually vote from wherever you are. Okay? Health. Now you are getting to a different milestone. Supposing I get a video, you're being a robot or a machine is actually scanning your body, and 2,000 kilometers away, there's a doctor who's looking at it, and the doctor makes a precise circle, or a mark, a boundary for tissue to be removed. And with great skill, without prejudice about caste, religion, gender, age, a robot will do precise surgery and remove it. So you can actually deploy robots to do surgeries across India in villages. Again, this is already happening to some extent. You have remote, diagnosis happening, but there will be remote invasive surgery also possible in the future. You will not need actually to deploy doctors to go to villages. Nobody seems to like to go to villages. Okay, but maybe doctors will not be required at a primary health level to begin with. But actually, many big surgeries in the world now are being done with robots. Okay, let's not call them robots. We can call them machines, if you wish. Okay, and in the Internet of Things, what it will mean is maybe it will not even be a doctor. It will be artificial intelligence talking. I actually did a test with Elon Musk persona, artificial intelligence. Somebody sent me a beta program. It is so intelligent. It mimics the persona of Elon Musk. And you can actually have a conversation. It's just bizarre and eerie. So you can have actually people you like, who are your friends, with you all the time as holographic images with AI. That person even may not know that you're talking to that person. Okay? You're talking to the image of that person with artificial intelligence and a virtual reality that is more enchanting, like Matrix, than reality itself. Think about it. The seventh one I'm talking about is about manufacturing. Think about 3D printing. See, we have lived through a world of standardization. All products are standardized. How many of you are wearing jeans here? Don't raise your hands, but practically everybody out there. Okay? So we live in a mass culture. Unless you standardize, you can't do big market capture. If it's customized, how will you mass manufacture, right? So, but the world is moving towards customization. So what will happen is, you can 3D print, you can 3D print homes now, right? I'm sure you're all engineers, you can 3D print homes, but think about this. Supposing you give your DNA, profile, to a big corporation that can actually print an organ in your body that has gone bad. So you'll have a sense of immortality about this. I don't know how long it will last, but basically, you can 3D print yourself, perhaps in the future. I'm not saying this is desirable. I'm just saying anything is possible. And the last thing I want you to think about is networking, news and entertainment. Now, supposing you want to watch, we make identification when we watch movies or sports. You think like, I'm like Messi, or I'm like Shah Rukh Khan. Maybe that's what people think. They make identification. In real time, think about this. Supposing you watch the movie with you as that image. So if it's a movie done, and at home you watch the movie, everyone watches yourself and maybe your spouse, or a girlfriend, boyfriend. You can imagine those people in those roles and actually see them in real time morphing. So you can have a meta image, which can become anything, and you actually pay to be in that movie. See what I'm saying? So that is how the future of movies may be, of news may be. See, I try to move through this really fast because I don't know how much time we have. Actually, we don't have much time. I have 3 minutes to conclude, I think. Yeah, 2 minutes to conclude. So I am saying that none of this may happen immediately, but a lot may happen immediately. I'll give you 2-3 examples and close. In India, for 100 years of telephony in 1998, I think Ram Vilas Paswan was the telecom minister at the time. He said that India has got, I think, 28 million telephone connections. 6 years later, I think in August 2004, every month, India was adding that many telephone connections. How quickly we have become a smartphone economy is just mind-boggling. When did Google come? When did Facebook come? When did Twitter come? We have as though this has been here forever, right? See, Nitin Gadkari has announced that toll gates will not be there. Not even FASTag will be there. There'll be a GPS code. When you cross one bus placed on another, a satellite will record and bill you. It will draw money from your bank account. Okay, it's the Internet of Things. You are actually completely irrelevant to the process. Like that, it can be. So, what can you skill yourself to be in the future? Is my question. Think about this. You're studying engineering. What can you skill yourself to become? You have to think. Actually, the future is actually just to have knowledge, maybe not have skills. It's a very dystopic word. You know what dystopic word is? Actually, it means like a very dark and bleak word. But we seem to be heading towards that. We do less and less work. We outsource all the work to machines. And machines are actually talking to one machine of yours is talking to another machine of yours. And you feel rewarded. You come and sit at home and the TV comes on and your favorite movie is playing and you think such a smart TV. It's actually just an echo chamber. It's just confirming your prejudices. It's keeping you where you should be. Basically, you become the product for those machines. And those machines will say, I'm making this person watch this movie. And the machine actually makes that money because somebody owns that program. So there'll be some 4 or 5 rich people in the world who run your lives, and you're the products actually. This is how it could become. But it can be a much better world with universal education, universal healthcare, universal, equitable holding of wealth, equitable, nutrition. It could be. That future is in your hands. And that future will be determined no longer technologically, because technologically we are moving forward at rapid speed. It has to be decided ethically. So we must return to the core ethical moral compass of humanity, because the planet is under threat. We are the only ones who generate waste. No other life generates waste. You don't have to go clean the forest. Only humans generate waste. Only humans. No other species, no other life form creates pollution. Only humans do. If you want a better world, you must use technology for a better world, not just for humans, for all life. If all life is safe, humans will survive. Otherwise, we'll probably be the first ones to vacate the